Hi, good afternoon, everybody. Hello, just wait. Ah, there we go. Good afternoon, rather, everyone. To the Africans Friday's conversation. One of the heaviest weeks. In our time, given the current situation, COVID-19, as we all try to navigate our way around this weird time, and as we all try to stay afloat as we go along. But it gives me great pleasure to be back on this platform today. I look forward to this chat with our guest this afternoon, Brent Lindeque. I hope I've pronounced his name correctly. So I'm about to welcome him now. As soon as I see that he's on, I think he was, might lost, might have lost him, but I'll be back shortly. Welcome once again, everybody, to those of you who've just joined. So our guest today is Brent Lindeque, who is the owner of the Good Things Guy. Good Things Guy. Talk about good things. We really could make use of good things, hearing good things, doing good things, talking about good things. We are all consumed by so much worry. We're overwhelmed by worry and trying to make sense of things and what we're going through as a people, as a country, as the world, trying to stay afloat, trying to do our best under the circumstances. But we will forge ahead and we'll be fine. We will be fine. Brent is the owner of the Good Things Guy, owns a brand activations company called Chaos Theory. He also is a former radio presenter on Cliff Central. So we have something in common there, though I was never, a radio presenter, but I come from a radio background, behind the scenes rather. And Brent is radio, talking about all things good that are happening in the country. I like that. And I think that's how I'm going to open up my chat with Brent. Was recently part of a commercial recording to fight GBV, a very important reality for us as South Africans that needs to be spoken about and dealt with, decisively for that matter. And he has a touching story of how his parents dealt with COVID-19, which he shares on SABC3, shared on SABC3 Afternoon Express on Wednesday, the past Wednesday. Recently decided to grow his hair long. That's interesting. And he is known for having turned the internet drinking game into acts of kindness nominations. Very, very nice background, very light-hearted, but with an element of importance and significance. But let me just send Brent an invitation for him to join and see what happens, because I can't see him online. Is Brent here? I can't see him online, but while we wait, we're going to have a very quick, interesting discussion about the what his understanding of the importance of buying local is, what his take is as a consumer, what his take is as a South African, what his take is as an influencer, and what his take is as somebody who has a loud enough voice and a credible voice that he can use to share his thoughts around the importance of buying local, around the importance of all of us positively to the economy of the country. So we're about to go live with Brent as soon as I can spot him online. I don't know if we are technologically challenged this afternoon rather, but I hope that he'll be online soon. Team please try and find Brent for us somewhere out there. But while we wait for Brent, just takes opportunity to also talk about our new campaign, Proudly South African campaign. I'm hoping most of you have seen it. Drop me comments or something. What you think of our commercial, our advert on television. It's been on TV for about a week, almost 2 weeks now. Do you resonate with it? It's a very emotive commercial that we have on television, and we are hoping that you resonate with it. We are hoping that the message is clear. We are hoping that our call to action to you as a consumer is clear. We are hoping that it touches a special place in your heart for you to get up and do your bit and contribute towards, so to speak. So, yes, I see somebody says with the legendary Dr. John Kani. Yes, by all means. The Game Time, we call it, the new campaign is called Game Time Mzansi. Hello, Brent.
Happy, how are you?
I'm happy, I think.
Always happy. You look great. It's really cool to be back on a live with you this time. And actually, today is the first time I've ever done an Instagram live, or like a joint Instagram drive.
Really? Yeah. The first time that you're doing this, I find that hard to believe. You are that guy. You are that guy who's a leader of the pack, is what I'm made to understand, and given what I've seen you do,
So for reals, I've done Instagram lives by myself where I sit and chat for days, but I've never done like an Instagram double feed live. So this is my first time, and I'm very thankful that Proudly South Africa has invited me to be a part of this today.
Oh, fantastic. We're so grateful that you said yes to this invitation. And I see quite a few people are joining us now. I've just spotted David Tlale on the line. Hey, David. Thanks for joining us. That's our next guest. See?
Oh, nice.
The universe has a way to speak to us. There we go. So Brent, before you, and I know that we do not have the luxury of time really, because we're dealing with a very busy individual. You have places to go and people to see and interview on 702 after this discussion, I believe.
Yes, I am incredibly busy, but right here from my house. So it's not like I have to climb into my car and go anywhere. The world has
Yes.
drastically changed. And
Yeah.
so straight after this, I'm going to be on the midday report with Mandy Wiener, which is quite exciting.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, so COVID-19 has forced all of us to pause, right? And to do things completely differently. But we have to adjust. We have to adjust. It's a big change, but we have to adjust. But what I want to touch on is your take as an individual, as an influencer, as somebody with a loud enough voice and a credible voice at that, and as somebody who is just as affected, by COVID-19 and the economy, so to speak, what is your take on the importance of buying local and support?
The utmost importance right now. I obviously I own my small business, which is Good Things Guy. My partner has got his sports sponsorship company, which does marketing and events, which really there's no events happening right now, so it's difficult to support local in those ways. But if I think about how we get through this and how we help each other, we rise by lifting together. So by helping each other and by supporting local, we'll be able to uplift the economy and the country. Just for me, down the road from me, I found a grocery store that I'd always seen, but I'd never supported because I'd gone to the chains, I'd gone to the franchises, I'd done that thing that we've become so used to in our normal lives, and all of a sudden I thought twice. I was like, if I support that grocery store, I've said it before, when you support local and you buy local, there's a real human being behind that does a little happy dance, because you've literally helped them pay school fees, you've helped them build their little economies, and that is a waterfall effect, because when you help one person by buying local, they'll be able to pay school fees, pay it forward into another industry where they can buy local. So that is how we rise, is by lifting each other. And one thing, so we some of the viewers might not know, but you and I were on a panel recently, and one of the things that you brought to the forefront, which I didn't even know, but our importing has literally stopped during resources without having to go international. And is that not amazing that we are able to live and to do and to survive and to support local without importing? I think that is absolutely important.
It makes you think, doesn't it, Brent? It makes you pause for 1 second and think and appreciate and embrace the fact that, it is the very local products and the very local services that we've in the past questioned.
Yeah.
Because the myth is that any product that is as life happens because of COVID-19, we've been forced to pause and to rethink our loyalty to local brands, rethink our attitude, to local brands, because local brands have carried us, throughout the last 4 months, for that matter.
Yeah, so completely. We've, for me, for myself and my circle, I've realized that maybe I don't need imported things. Like, maybe I don't need those things that I used to think were better quality, because in actual reality, South Africa's quality here is absolutely incredible. And I think, we're going through this trauma and this pandemic that affects us all in different ways. I like to say we're in the same storm, but we're actually not, because everybody's dealing with it in a different way.
Yes.
We're going to learn a couple of things. We're going to look back on 2020, and first first and foremost, I'm sure many of us are going to be frustrated by job losses, by losing family members, by all these serious things that have happened during the course of this year. But I think that we're also going to look back and realize simple things like this, which we will survive. It's how we will rebuild this economy, is by supporting our local, even, and we think, when we think local, we might think small scale. So like I speak about the grocery store down the road from me, but there's also amazing local products in our chain stores that are being distributed, that are made locally, and that we can support by buying local as well.
And I couldn't agree with you more. And you've really just hit the nail on the head when you say, you know, many of us think local is shame, you know, the small beads that the mamas sell along the side of the road, you know, the informal settlement type of situation. We are speaking big things. We are speaking about the fact that we play in the global space. So if you look at it from a lifestyle perspective, we make cars locally. So we make a BMW locally that we export to other countries. We make other cars that we export to other countries. We make clothes, we make food, we make furniture. Bespoke furniture. We make furniture for schools, for offices. Every time you see a building that goes up, understand that there's got to be furniture put in that building. You know, there's got to be tiling, there's got to be curtaining, blinds, all of that. So we're talking on a big global scale. You know. And we can't be apologetic about that as South Africans. We've got great products that are affordable, that are accessible, and that are good quality. And that's the gap that we try to fill as proudly South African. But just to touch on something interesting that you've just said, my analogy of what we are going through now is that imagine an ocean afloat. Some of the boats are sinking. Some of the boats are toppling people over, and they're trying to navigate the ocean, trying to swim. Some people will be able to swim, some won't be able to. So we all in the same, we all in the same ocean. So we all in the same. We're not in the same boat. We're in different boats, but in the same ocean as we try to work around COVID-19, which has brought to us, many challenges where people, small businesses like yours, has had to repurpose their operation.
So, I mean, we speak about the same ocean, the same storm, different boats. Another thing to come out of COVID-19 is perspective. And I think perspective for other. In South Africa, many of us live very sheltered lives where we don't get to travel to different provinces. Maybe we don't leave our urban areas. We're quite sheltered. We have this almost comfort. We live in this comfort where we go to that shop, we spend time with those people. And for me, what COVID-19 has also opened up my eyes to is perspective, that everybody is dealing with this trauma on a different level because we're all in a different space. And that's the different boats that we're all trying to deal with. I also think that this pandemic and this subsequently the lockdown is also a leveling. It's almost like a leveling. It's bringing everybody back down, where material stuff doesn't matter anymore. Like, you can't look at the size of your wallet anymore and worry about that. Money's not going to buy you health. And we all got to now, what do they say? Put your bootstraps up. So we all need to we all need to get into it, put our masks on. We all need to wash our hands. We all need to sanitize. And it's almost like this leveler where all of a sudden we all need to just do the absolute basics and then look after each other. So put your masks on, put the sanitizer on, do all those good things, and then help each other. If there's one thing from the good things guy perspective, the store coming together to help each other. It is the most beautiful thing that I've seen, where just ordinary South Africans are doing the most extraordinary things. And that's something that absolutely makes my heart warm, to know that we care for each other. And I know social media, yes, social media can be a toxic place. Happy we know this. We're on it, we see the conversations, we try run away,
Yes.
we don't want to be a part. I see good people that just want to help each other, and every single day that's happening. And I think that's another beautiful side to come out of this COVID-19, is that we do care for each other.
Absolutely. And, you know, Ubuntu kicks in a very big way. And I agree with you. You know, we've experienced the fact that, you know, when we go through extreme pain of any kind, you know, whether it's the pandemic we're going through now, whether it's a loss of someone, whatever it is, when we go through extreme pain, or when we go through extreme happiness, you know, we've just won the Rugby World Cup, or some of us, you know, one of us is doing together by the sense of Ubuntu and by solidarity. You know, yes. We are able to celebrate together. We stand together in solidarity. You know, and as much as COVID-19 has forced most of us to look at, you know, the way in which we do things differently, the one thing that does not change is the responsibility we have as a people to, you know, keep people employed, ourselves and people that we know, because the reality is that we all know somebody who's struggling to find a job, or somebody who's just been retrenched, or somebody who has been looking and they can't find a job. We all know somebody who's unemployed. But on the flip side is that we can all make a little difference to keep people employed, sustain the jobs that we have, and create more opportunities. You know, before COVID-19, for me, it's such a rude awakening that our whole lives have had to change. I mean, earlier this morning, I attended a virtual burial of my mentor, Zinzi Mandela, and to think that I couldn't personally be, you know, to pay my last respect. Reality of what COVID means really hit me very hard. So it forces me to think of the SMMEs and entrepreneurs and small businesses who are trying to stay afloat. And it is in that spirit that even in our new commercial, Game Time in Mzansi, which I'm hoping you've seen on television, where we're using our dear friend, Dr. John Kani, to galvanize South Africans. It's an emotive message. It's not a hard sell, but we are saying to South Africans, do the right thing.
Well, this is it, and we need to do the right thing. And I must say, my condolences to you and to most of South Africa for that funeral for this morning. It's incredibly painful to know that it's real. When it starts becoming real and it gets into our circles, then we can start understanding what this is. I'm not sure if you're aware, but it was about 4 weeks ago, both my mother and father tested positive for COVID-19. And at the time, I mean, it was harrowing to hear that, to get that phone call. I haven't seen my mom and dad for over 120 days. I haven't spent time with them. It's now a little bit longer, I think. But the whole reasoning behind that was to keep them safe. They are my parents. They are 60 years old. I was petrified. I was absolutely petrified when I got that phone call. But I lied to myself and my mom, and I tried to keep the spirits up and to keep positive. And I said to her, "You'll be fine. Don't worry about it. You know, you're healthy and you're pretty fit, and I'm sure that you'll be fine. So let's not worry about it." And then I put the phone down, and I was in my car, and I just sobbed uncontrollably. I cried. I was just really scared and I guess that's what we all feel is this fear of the unknown. I don't know what it's going to do to my parents' bodies. I don't know what it would do to my body. We don't have an understanding of that because we just don't know. And then I phoned my parents every morning. The first thing I did was pick up the phone, and I phoned them, and I said the first thing was a health check. How are you feeling? Tell me about your symptoms. I'm not even a doctor, but I was like,
Dr. Brent.
Dr. Brent. Then I would phone them the rest of the day, just to spend time with them on the phone. Just to spend time with them on the phone. And by I think it was day 5, I realized something that I'm incredibly thankful for. But the symptoms were not severe. They were very, very mild. And I realized in that moment that I didn't have to be fearful, that for me, my parents were going to be okay. In my heart of hearts and my hope, I believed it. And by day 14, they moved into the recovery side. But the importance of that story is when it hits your direct circle, you then for the first time realize how real this is. The COVID-19 pandemic, the lockdown, because we locked away from society, we're not seeing it in front of us, but because it happened to me, for the first time, it became real. And that is a very sobering moment. And I think as we head into the peak, what they're calling the peak, it's going to happen more and more and more. We're going to see more people that it's impacting, more families that are either getting sick or mild sickness or severe, and obviously we're going to see a higher mortality rate, which I'm incredibly sad for, and it's harrowing to think of it. But all that we can do as South Africans is keep ourselves safe and keep others safe by wearing masks and sanitizer. Sorry, I had a phone call come through.
No problem. I've had that as well. I couldn't agree with you more, Brent. And thank goodness that your folks are fine. Brent, we were talking about numbers. It was not people we knew. It was numbers, 100 people around the country. Now it's come to a point where it's people we know. And thank goodness that your parents are okay. Bless them. I see Catherine Considalisi has just joined us on the line, and she's also, bless you, Catherine. Thank you so much for joining us today, and we hope you are, I saw her latest status where she's hanging in there, she's doing what she needs to do, and she's okay. I believe that the worst is over. We stand in the gap in prayer for everybody who's either going through it or who knows somebody who's going through it or who's lost somebody who, recently, or whatever the case may be. And all of those people where, Brent, you'll agree that even prior to COVID-19, our economy was in trouble. It really was in trouble. COVID-19 just made it worse, and for the country. But we've got to fight to survive as a people. We've got to fight to survive, keep people employed, sustain jobs, support each other locally. Look, we do have the realities that we can't operate in isolation as a country. We do have import and export issues that we have to be mindful of. But for example, for Mandela Day, or for tomorrow, we kick off a digital campaign as Proudly South African, where it's twofold. So the first phase, we're asking corporate South Africa. I was in a webinar with Unilever today, and I challenged them, and I said to them that in light of our digital campaign, we're saying to corporate South Africa, absorb or adopt a small business during this time in response to paying for their for the advertising of their local product, to try and make a difference in their lives, or give somebody a short-term contract to be able to provide a shuttle service for your staff who are avoiding to go onto taxis for obvious reasons, or something like that as a corporate, in response to Mandela Day. And to consumers, we're saying in the next few days, when you go out shopping for your essentials, do an import replacement type of scenario, where as opposed to buying a product that has been brought into the country, rather buy a product, actively look for a product that is made here at home as your way to contribute.
What I've been saying since the start of lockdown, and the fact that a big brand like Proudly South African has come on board to initiate this has actually lit a fire inside of me. In order, we've got these massive corporates in this country that they've got budgets. They still have budgets. Yes. They're still making money. And if they could use their money correctly, and we can then really boost this economy even during the lockdown. So I think that is a brilliant idea for corporates, big corporates, to almost adopt
yes.
a smaller company and look after them.
Yes.
I don't know if you know of Karen Landy, who does community hours. She had a similar idea with schools in South Africa, where these private schools adopted an informal school and over being able to hand over books and stationery and just being able to help each other. That is how we rise together. So I think that big corporates helping the smaller guys is really a domino effect. Lisejo's just said a domino effect, and that's exactly what it is.
Yes, a domino effect, exactly. Lisejo is on point. Exactly, it's a domino effect. Exactly.
The strangest thing has happened with globalization, and it is a really weird thing. But as consumers, when we want something, we want it now. If we walk into the shops, and avocado is a perfect example. Everybody loves a little bit of avocado in a salad or on food, and they'll walk into a shop and they'll be like, I want avos, but it's not avo season in South Africa. So where are those avos coming from? We're importing them. What we need to be doing is going, okay, so it's not avo season, and we shouldn't have avos in South Africa, but it is butternut season. So let's rather buy butternuts tonight and not do avos. I see it often in the fruit aisles and the vegetable aisles, and because we haven't really been importing. But my change going forward is I will eat seasonally. I will eat food that is seasonal, so that I am supporting local and not making a demand for imports. I think that's also a huge thing that we've done as consumers, is we've created this demand, and the stores, they're just trying to keep up with us. They're just trying to keep up with consumers.
And you are spot on. You choose to buy a product from Brazil, for an example. You're creating demand in Brazil. You're creating a job in Brazil. What about the jobs here? You could be creating a demand here at home. So I couldn't agree with you more. But let me tell you something. So in the last few days, there's been two words that have done the rounds. Us South Africans, irrespective of what we go through, we find humor in everything. The first was entanglement.
Love entanglement.
The first was entanglement, and then the second one was the president saying with immediate effect.
When is immediate effect? Now? Just now?
Yes. No, with immediate, exactly. We knew we were in trouble.
Domino effect.
Who is our guy today? Is domino effect. So you touched on something earlier on about the fact that it is not what we find ourselves in, right? It is how we get ourselves out of that thing, out of that situation. Yeah. And it takes me back to the responsibility that big corporates have. We are in a mess currently, but it is how we're going to take ourselves out of that mess. And this is how they can play their part as big corporates to adopt an SME, an entrepreneur, to invest in them because there is budget, and do right by the economy. Because with the new campaign that we have, which lives on different platforms, the one is television, as you've seen it, and we say in that television advert that, ours is proudly South African. We're not selling a Coca-Cola bottle with an intention for a viewer to see the bottle on television, go to the shop and buy that bottle so we generate revenue. That's not who we are. However, we are an entity that's representing all of those brands, those Coca-Colas, those brands from Unilever, from Nestle South Africa, from local designers who are like all of those guys who are online with us and who are not online. All of those products, we are the voice for South African products, for them to be to us South Africans to make the correct purchasing decisions and give a chance to locally made products, and while doing that, the domino effect and the value chain is then taken care of, and the people, the households behind that value chain and those jobs. And at the chat that we had the other day on the other platform, we did say that there's an argument where everybody is crying foul, everybody is telling you how their industry is affected by joblessness, by retrenchment, by COVID-19, everybody. And my take, which I feel very strongly about, is that every industry is in trouble. Whichever way you look at it, but more over and above that, it is the people behind the industries and the people behind the brands that are most affected. It's the people, because all the brands and all the industries are in existence because there's people behind them.
Yeah, so I mean that's the thing, right? At the end of the day, it doesn't matter how big the corporate is. It doesn't matter how big of a brand name is hanging there. Behind that corporate are humans, and it's the human lives that are being affected and impacted. And one of the things that we're saying, yes, there's a domino effect. If you support local, if you buy local, if you put your money into local, there will be a domino effect that will come out of that. So there will be somebody who, whatever those local companies are. But there's also a domino effect that we need to be aware of. And that's why I love the corporate campaign that you've come up with for big corporates to adopt small corporates or small businesses, entrepreneurs to look after them. Because there is a domino effect that is still going to come a year from now. When COVID-19, when the pandemic is over, we're almost going to have a COVID-19 hangover, is what we could call it. We're going to have dealt with the pandemic. There's going to be some sort of vaccination that will come out. So we'll all sort of be safe from this virus. But then we've got a big job ahead of us, a huge task. And that task is rebuilding the economy. And the only way we can do that is by supporting local, by supporting the guys that are able to support each other so that we can rise together. We rise by lifting each other. It's the domino effect. That's exactly what it is.
Absolutely. And you're right. In a year's time or so, this too shall pass, right? This too shall pass. There will be a vaccine. We will go back to life as we know it, whether it's 5 months' time, a year's time, whatever the case may be, this too shall pass. And when it does, but even before it passes, before there's an end to it. Even before that, we have got to understand that the economy of the country really still remains in our hands. In anticipation for a good economy, a good life, a way forward, we start today. So when we get there one day, we will have started somewhere. So I'm hoping that I see you've got about 3 minutes before 7:02 phones you. I feel like we need a television program on this. I feel like the local Fridays on Insta Live is not enough. I feel like we need a proudly South African chat on television and donate with it.
Yes.
It's not boring. It's our daily lives, right?
I agree. I agree 100%, Happy. I think we need to make. You are on the money. I think we need to make it happen. We can get a beautiful panel to sit around and discuss these things and really unpack how we kickstart the economy in what Lesego has just gone #life after lockdown, because that's exactly what it is.
Television program where you come and tell the good stories.
It's
good things,
so important, right? So I've found, I've found over this time, obviously Good Things Guys already almost 6 years old, and we've got a beautiful following, and we're very thankful that the readers always tune in and come back for more. But what I've found over this time is that there's almost a need to have good news, whereas it is traumatic. It is overwhelming. They call it, I think it's the Corona coaster, because it's like a roller coaster, and you're just up one day, down the next day.
Relate to that. Yeah, I can relate to that.
Coaster. And what I've realized is our readership has really gone up, and there's been this almost group of people that just need more good news and are looking for it. So yeah, if you put together a little panel TV show, I'm ready for it.
I feel like at this point we must swap our names. I think you're more happier than I am.
You know what I've realized, and it's a crazy thing. It is really a crazy thing. But so at the beginning of lockdown, there was a clever scientist or psychologist who said again, was that what we are going through is called anticipatory grief. It's like stages of through what we're going through now is something that we need to deal with, and it's just those different stages. So when you get to a stage of acceptance, that's when you can smile and be like, it is what it is. So I'm in my house, I'm doing this now, and
that I've got to let you go 10 minutes before our scheduled time because of your other commitment.
Sorry.
But I'm so grateful.
I'm so sorry.
I'm so grateful that you said yes to this invitation. I feel like we need to have you back again. And my parting shot is that thank you so much for being a friend of the campaign. Local is really lekker. And I think we've got something that where we will unpack a lot of amazing things. I feel like we need more time to talk to you about this. But thank you. We will chat to you on social media as we roll out our Mandela Day or Mandela Month activation, as we shared with you now. Thank you. Bless you. What is your parting shot?
So my parting shot is we can make a difference in South Africa, and the difference that we can make is it's in our hands.
Yes.
We speak about the domino effect. If you want to do something, stop talking about it and action it. If you want to make a difference, if you want to support local, if you want to start a business, whatever those things are, do it. Stop talking about it and do it. That's how we make a difference. Local is
my parting shot is this. So Oprah Winfrey says, not everybody can be famous, but we can all be great. And greatness is determined by selflessness. We can all be selfless and play our part, one way or another, to make sure that we are the difference that we want to see. Buy local, everybody. And we're not just saying that. We're saying that because locally made products and local services, you are making a difference in somebody else's life. We can all be great. And like I said, or at least like Oprah said, which is a principle I live by, is that greatness is determined by selflessness. Thank you, everybody. Have a great afternoon. Have a great weekend. Wear your masks, sanitize, practice social distancing, and all of those who are going through a tough time,